being brave. It's not easy, but you have to sometimes be uncomfortable to reach greatness.
A growing health, wellness, and leadership podcast designed for you to become your most empowered self.
Great day, amazing humans. Welcome to the Empowered in My Skin podcast, where our mission is to help 1 billion people in this world think in more empowering ways. Empowered humans empower humans. So you are the right spot to become a lead domino for empowerment today. So let the show begin. Great day, amazing humans. Yes, welcome to the next episode of Empowered in My Skin, the podcast. Our guest today is a trailblazer. And for those of you who are YouTubers, you could see her right away. But if you're listening, this is the trailblazer, recognized as a woman of distinction and change maker in the Canada construction industry. She's founder of EthelFox Construct Group, a Toronto-based full-service construction and development company. As one of Canada's few female-owned construction firms, she's dedicated to breaking barriers for women in the industry. In 2021, she established A Woman's Work, a nonprofit organization offering pre-apprenticeship training and career support to women pursuing skilled trades. In 2022, her leadership, business acumen, and commitment to breaking barriers for women earned her recognition on the Women's Executive Network's Top 100 Most Powerful Women in Canada list and the 2023 Startup Canada Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Through her work with EthelFox Construct Group and A Woman's Work, she's committed to creating a more inclusive and equitable construction industry. I know you're as excited as I am, so please join me in a huge, gigantic, massive podcast welcome to the one and the only Natasha, aka Nash Ferguson.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Hello, fellow Top 100.
Hello.
This has been a long time in the making.
Yes.
It has. But today is the day that this was actually supposed to happen. So I'm really excited about all that you've accumulated since we talked about getting into a podcast episode and what is going to be revealed today. So first of all, I'm going to give you your flowers at the top of the episode. Like you are a, since I've come to know more about you through Build a Dream, the work that I've done with being the chair, you are a marvel and I'm in awe. And I remember, and I know that it hasn't been easy to get to where some of the stuff we're going to talk through today.
Yes.
And, but there's a blueprint there. There's a blueprint of excellence. There's a blueprint of I'm going to say hustle, although hustle sometimes has a, exhaustion kind of
yes.
But I think your hustle is also very inspiring and just really trailblazing and breaking barriers. So I'm excited about this episode. So with all episodes, I start off with a very simple question to warm you up.
Yes, ma'am.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are recording that in advance of it publishing this Thursday, but she went to church, so I think she's ready for this question.
Praise him.
She's prayed up. So what has been your most empowering thought of the day so far?
That time is the master. Yes, time is the master.
You explain.
And so you are where you're.
Is somebody scraping something?
That's my cat.
Okay.
Hello, stop it. So time is the master. You are where you are supposed to be, and you can always start from where you are. And it's kind of an old sort of saying that my mother and my grandmother used to pass on to me when I thought things were not going the way that I needed them to go or going as fast as they could go. And so she would always say to me, Natasha, time is the master. And today, while I was worshiping and just going through my Sunday, that kind of popped into my head because that's kind of where I am right now. Just, patience and resilience and just waiting on time, because that's the only thing that never changes.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
constant. So
And it's the
yeah,
one thing you can't take back either. And
no, no,
and it's interesting. I actually like that. Um, so what I like about what you just said really is about what you pulled out of where you are right now is exactly where you need to be, you know?
yeah,
And I think there's something very restorative and that can contribute to a good restful spirit.
yes,
Um, Especially
yes,
in this day and age with all the uncertainty, right? Like we're constantly thinking
exactly,
about all the things that we actually don't have or don't feel we're prepared for. And we
exactly.
seldom give credit to the fact that everything that we need in this moment is already present, you know?
Exactly. And just really, the present is called a present for a reason, because it is a present, I try to live in the present and in the now,
Mm-hmm.
especially with um, what I continue to do in my
Mm-hmm.
career and
Mm-hmm.
my journey, and being in service of others. And
Mm-hmm.
so that does take a certain level of patience and just
Yeah.
understanding that sometimes the time you don't master the time, time masters you.
There's you.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think about, I remember seeing you one day, and we were at an event, and it was a sort of a trade show event, and I was not myself. I felt run down and tired, and I was going towards something that seemed at the time very unattainable. And you did give me some words of wisdom, and it kind of went something like this. It was kind of like, you can only do so much in this period of time, and you really just have to let it all go, stop trying to control. I remember these, you did say this to me. I don't know if you remember, but
I remember
and
the moment.
yes, and not to try to control things that are already yours. Whatever is
Mm-hmm.
yours is going to be yours. It doesn't matter, what you're going through at the time. What's yours is yours, and that can't be taken from you. So
Mm-hmm.
I really did. Thank you so much for that, friend.
Well, thank you for
Um,
receiving that. I remember that moment. I even remember
yeah,
where we were. Mm-hmm.
and essentially, right after I started, you gave me that piece of advice. I kind of just took a, stock of everything and said, well, what have I achieved so far? And the things that I've achieved, it took time, it took
Mm-hmm.
patience. And to be honest with you, I sometimes look back and think, oh my gosh, how did I do this? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I also say, um, what did I get myself into when I do
Yes.
take on big things? And then when I accomplish it, I feel really great about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm also glad that we're having this is actually how we're starting this what conversation.
Mhm.
And because yesterday, transparently, I've been nursing. There's been an injury that I've been nursing for some time, and I
Mhm.
think, while I'm in physio and I've done my MRIs because I any type of injury I get, I'm on it right away.
Mhm.
This one, however, I've never gone anything concrete, in terms of what it is about, and so
Yeah.
I just over the last probably since April of last year,
Mhm.
at times it's been pretty noticeable and other time. Anyway, so long and short, it started
Yeah.
to hurt me this week when and
Yes.
yesterday I
You
went
mentioned
down
that.
to, yeah, it hurt me a little bit more. And then yesterday I went down to the gym to have a workout and just putting on my running shoes as I was putting
Mm.
on it on my left leg, my
Yes.
left foot, I
Yeah.
heard a pop and this excruciating amount of pain,
Oh my
just
gosh.
and instant tears. And I remember, I will be honest with you. I'm sharing this because what we're just talking about, I don't always get it right myself. And
Right. Right.
in that
Yeah.
moment, I forgot about the whole everything you need right now. It's already
Yeah.
planted.
Exactly. And that
I
is
was
fine.
only thinking about how bad this could, what if this is really bad? This is my
Yes.
livelihood. I'm not going to be able to,
Yes.
how am I going to, keep my mental state together? My husband,
And
I
everybody
called him.
knows you. You're like workout queen. So for you to have that type of injury, it's kind of like, oh my gosh,
But
what
even
is
then, I
coming?
realized that in that moment, I was worshiping my working out more than God. Like
Yes.
I had actually put it
And
before
that
God.
worry around
And that,
what,
right.
when you
And
know that
so
he's
anyway,
going to take care of it all, right?
so now a day later, like
Yeah.
24 hours later, way more settled. And I've been, information is golden, right? I went to the hospital.
Yes.
I got some, my husband took me to Emerge. I got some x-rays, I got some,
And
anyway, just
there's
got
a
some
next step
information.
now.
And now now the blessing is that I got fast tracked for what's called orthopedic surgeon appointment
Right.
because I was on a
Just-
waiting list. And if all of that had to happen just for me to get fast tracked.
And so, but what I want to pluck out from that is that in that moment of worry, in that moment of like, oh my gosh, you forgot to think that it's not going to stay like this.
No, I know. It's all
forever,
permanent. Yeah.
and that there is a next step.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's how I always have to be thinking. It's like, oh my God, this happened. And I literally don't worry anymore about things. I was a big worrier. Like I would worry about things that, it's like I have no control over, but there's always tomorrow and and I had a mentor and he used to say this to me, Natasha, a lot can happen in an hour. A lot can happen in a day. A lot can happen in a month. A lot can happen in 3 months, in a year. You can go from feeling this way to in 24 hours, something else happened that just propels you into that positivity or propels you into, fixing that issue. Or maybe it didn't fix that issue, but now something else that was a problem has been fixed. So, it goes back to time, right?
Yes. No, you're right. And it was funny when you just said that. I also feel that you don't have clarity and worry. And so the minute I settled my brain and started to listen to my husband, I decided that I was going to go to emergency. I typically I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to, but I went to Emerge. And
you think your leg's going to stay like that forever? Like, no,
it's not.
It's not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the enemy will put out some stuff, girl, to make you feel like it's the whole world is falling in on your head until you realize, like,
But the minute you calm the heck down, I feel that everything starts to work out in your favor. Anyway, so thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that most empowering. It really kickstarted this interview. So there's always there's a backstory to greatness.
That's right.
And so you didn't just show up yesterday on the construction scene. So can you give us maybe, a synopsis about how, like, what even got you into construction? I don't think I actually know that.
Yeah. So my dad is a tradesman. And so I was introduced to the trades at a really young age. And it kind of stuck with me. I loved it. But as you know, when you're growing up, especially at the time that we were growing up, there were only a few jobs that you could have. You're doing your OACs and you're this, and everybody's either trying to be a doctor or a nurse or a teacher or anything like that. So I was never pushed into it. And instead, I was pushed into communication. So my first job getting out of high school was with the bank. I did 1 year at Ryerson, and I dropped out. Like 6 months in, I was like, this is not for me. I can't. I was sitting there and I'm ADHD. So it was like, I just want to do this. Also being in an office, was a huge thing for me, but I stayed in office and stayed in corporate communications for about 15 years, worked with some of the biggest ad agencies, worked in finance, worked on some really big projects, did a lot of work abroad. And I lived a really amazing and fruitful and interesting life and career. And halfway through, I would say in 2011, I just kind of hit a wall, and I hated what I was doing at one point. I was just like, I'm not feeling fulfilled. The advertising world and the banking world, it is a different, type of beast, and feeling that tokenism and feeling like, yes, I'm making, really, really good money, but I'm also tired. I'm exhausted. I don't like being in an office and having that FaceTime. I like to call it FaceTime because really, for a person like me, I would start and work and I would get everything done in the first part of the day. And the rest of the day, it's just you're in meetings for 2 hours or an hour where you came from the corporate world. Sometimes you're on these meetings and everybody's like, talking about the same thing over and over again, and really nothing is getting done. And you kind of say the same thing, just in regards to and the financial, and then so that everybody buys that, But inside, I was dying, literally, and feeling, unappreciated, feeling like I couldn't spend time with my kid at the time, And so I went to my stepfather and I said to him, I'm really unhappy. I really want to do this, this, and this. And at that time, I met my second husband, who was a contractor, completely different than any person I'd ever met. And he was a roofer and overall just trades guy. And I was a serial entrepreneur because while I would be doing all of this stuff, I had this burning thing to do, build stuff. I was always building stuff and creating things. And people would be like, where are you getting this stuff in your mind? I was like, I'm an entrepreneur, right? So this is what it was, and I met him and I was like, this is a really great business, roofing. And he was like, what? And I'm just like, yeah, this is great. Like, we can make a lot of money with this. And my whole concept, my whole thought process was like, name a building or a house that doesn't have a roof anywhere in the world. And I'm like, that made perfect sense to me. So we got married a year later, and we started this roofing company. And that's kind of how it all began. I quit my job. And the funny story is when I quit my job, I went in there and I resigned and I had broken out in hives because I was always stressed out. This job was crazy. I was making a ton of money, but sure, they work you for that money, girl. Let me tell you, you better not make over 100,000 at that time because you were working. And so I started this thing. I decided to start moonlighting with ad agencies because roofing is seasonal, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I would work the roofs and I built the business. It was called Sky Limitless Roofing, which I still have up until this day. And in the winter, I would be poor. So I would go back with my tail between my legs to the ad agency, be like, I need some work. And I would get these jobs for like 6 months. God would always take care of me because as soon as I would have that 6 months done, I would be making 50 or 60 bucks an hour to do what I did best. My season would start and I would be up on a roof. Yes. There were many times where, I don't know, you go from a suit to being up on a roof and scraping the girl, it was crazy. I remember I would be up north and we're shoveling, 3 feet of snow off of a roof. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here? This is crazy. I was just wearing a pencil skirt and telling people about whatever and sitting in meetings. And now I'm on this roof. So it was a very humbling experience for me. 2 years later, my ex-husband now would go and start at the union. And I just kept going with this business. I loved it. I loved understanding, the gaps in the business. And then, 3 years later, I would open up another part of my business called Sky Garden Landscaping. And I made a lot of money landscaping because nobody ever knew that people spend this much money on planting flowers and their gardens and everything. So because of my experience in branding and all of that stuff, I was really able to build a very strong brand and a brand where landscaping almost became this oasis that you would escape to. And people love that. They love the fact that, okay, we only have 3 months of winter. We really want our backyard to look nice. And I just made a ton of money. And once that happened.
Sorry, when did you develop the skill for landscaping?
Oh my gosh. So one day I'm sitting, a friend of mine, who her name is Debbie, she would landscape during the summer because she was a teacher. And so I would help her with the landscaping. So when I opened up the roofing company for 2 years, I would get people asking me every time. And my ex-husband would be like, yo, they keep asking if you do landscaping. I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't know nothing about landscaping. One day I'm sitting with my mother and she's sitting across from me and I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what, mommy? She's like, what? She's like, I said, I think I'm going to open up a landscaping company. She just looked at me and she just rolled her eyes like, oh my God, what is this girl doing? And then 2 months later, I opened up the landscaping company. I named it. I put all of this stuff together. I got books and started reading about trees and perennials and annuals and the difference. And I just started learning everything. I started learning about hardscape. I learned how to install fake grass, right? Well, we call it turf. And the first 2 months I got my first client. Her name was Lucy Chin. She was a beautiful looking Asian woman. She said to me, I want you to come and do my backyard. And next thing you know, she's paying me $1,500 to do the backyard. And this was, I remember talking to my ex and say, he was helping me. And he says, okay, how much did you get paid? How much did you get paid? And I'm like, $1,400. He goes, oh, is that with materials? I go, no, that wasn't with materials. He was like, what? Because it was 4 hours of work. So in 4 hours, I made $1,400. He was completely blown away. And that's when everything started getting very serious for me anyways. And, you know, that we ran that for about 3 years. I would have $100,000 summers, you know, where and it was crazy. And I loved doing it. I loved being outside. I loved the effect that I would have on doing this. There's something about getting your hands in the dirt and really being in there. And then I started, because, you know, I'm an artist. I started designing like whole things. And at this time, I was really focused on these two businesses, and something wonderful happened. I had been trying to have a baby, my second child, and I was not able to do that. And so in 2017, after doing IVF and a whole bunch of things years back, I got pregnant naturally. Yes, wow. I was blessed. And it was about 2 days before I was supposed to go to Japan. I took my 16-year-old to Japan. I found out I'm pregnant, and it's crazy. And I'm still gardening while I'm pregnant. I come back from Japan. I got a little bit of a belly on me now, and I'm doing the work, you know? And I'll tell you what the breaking point was for me. I had my daughter, C-section. It was crazy. Imagine I'm 40 years old having this child. It nearly broke me. I don't know how people are having children at 45 and 46. I was tired, and I had her, and her name is Fox. And she was just beautiful. And
your other daughter's name is Ethel?
No, my late mother's name
is Ethel. Okay.
They named their child Ethel, girl.
Okay. I don't know. I hear EthelFox. Now that you said Fox, I'm like, okay, is your other daughter Ethel? Okay.
So no, my first daughter's name is London.
Okay.
And so I had my whole family doing gardening, and my mom would be there. God bless her soul. And I knew what I wanted to do, because after I had Fox, it was 2 months later, I was back on site after a C-section. And I knew that changed me. I said, this is what I want to do. And during this time, I was learning carpentry, and I was anything I could get my hands on. I was learning these trades. And so in 2017, 2018, I opened up the renovation side and build side of the company. And I called it EthelFox. And at the time it was called Sky Contracting. But in 2018, I had my daughter. And by 2019, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, lung cancer. And so again, you know, a complete metamorphosis. I've had this baby now. I'm fully engrossed into this business. You know, I'm no longer moonlighting with the ad agencies because I don't need to anymore. And I've got this young baby. I've also got this marriage that's kind of like breaking apart. So all of these things are happening in 2018, 2019. My mom comes down with cancer. My mom was my best friend. And so, you know, it was life-changing for me. And I wanted to take this business seriously. So I started to say, you know what, I need to get more experience, and it can't just be experience within my business. And so I started to apply for jobs. At this time now, I've got 5 trades under my belt. I'm very proficient at these trades. And I'm going for interviews, and it was really bad. I really started to see the discrimination. I would go to interviews.
You like interviews trying to get work in your trade?
Yeah, like
okay.
I wanted to be a project manager or construction manager. So on site. And so I would put all of my credentials on. I would have these interviews on the phone. And they were like, oh my God, you really know how to do all this stuff? And I'm like, absolutely. I would show them my work and show me working and doing it. And I would get there. And a couple of times I would get there and they would be shocked. And sometimes I would just wear my afro on purpose, because I would come in, I'd be like, hey, and you could see their faces were like, I like to call it racist face, like where they just look like, you're not going to get this job today, girl. And I'd be like, okay, so the last straw, I like to call it the last straw. It was winter time. My mom was, she was getting sicker. And I went and took an Uber and to this interview to a very big company. And I was very excited because I had had an amazing conversation with the man. And I walked in there and he saw me and the face didn't look good, but I still went through the interview and he actually ended up getting mid-interview and leaving the interview and sending in this woman, she was older, who was a secretary to finish the interview. And I was pissed. And it's actually a very big roofing company. I'm not going to name them here, but I went home very disillusioned. I was very upset. I came home.
Were they did they have a union mindset? Like, was it?
No, they weren't union. They were not union.
Okay.
But it was almost like the idea of me, a woman and a Black woman managing, old Portuguese or Italian guys. It was just like, no, they're not going to listen to you. Yeah. And I found out that it was a racism thing through making contact and looking at their, Glassdoor stuff and seeing all the comments. And I was very upset. And my mom said to me, that's what they used to do when I came from Jamaica. I would put on my best white voice and then get down to the interview. They would see I was there and then they wouldn't give me the job. So I was just like, no, this is not it. And I called a very good friend of mine and I was talking to her. Her name is Chandra. And she said to me, Natasha, why don't you just do this on your own? Why don't you just open up your own company, like your own thing? And I said, well, I am doing that. She goes, no, but I mean like brand it, do what you do best and really go hard with it. And I said, you know what? You're right. I'm going to do that. And so that was 2020. My mom was on her last legs. I decided to change the company name and I changed it to EthelFox in honoring of my mother. And I would literally come home and sit on her deathbed with her and I would design logos and different things. And I would say, Mommy, what do you think about this? And she chose the one that I liked. And so it was very, very therapeutic for me to do these things with my mother in her last days. But, a woman's work also was conceived from this. Yeah. And so another straw that broke the camel's back was couldn't find anything for myself to wear. And I had gone into, I can say them now because we're partners, Mark's Work Warehouse, and there was nothing in there. I complained bitterly. I called my mother. I called the 1-800 number. They were sick of hearing me, so they hung up after 45 minutes of me hammering them. And I was picking up something for my mom. She liked sweet stuff. It's almost like killed her. But she's like, I'm dying. I want what I want. So I was talking to my mom and I said to her, I'm so angry. And I'm tired of this. And I feel like, in the industry I was in before, it was because of my skin color. And now it's because I have a vagina and I'm not standing for this and I'm not doing this. And I went home and she was just like, Tasha, come here. I said, yes, Mom. She said, you're so upset. Why? And I said this to her. And she said, well, Tasha, just do something about it then. And my mom had this way of saying the most simplest thing that would just like resonate. And I would look at her and I'd be like this. Okay, fine, I'm doing that. And I left the room and went to bed. And that morning I got up and something popped into my head. I like to call it, I get, the visions or the voice. I like to call him God.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, this woman's work. And I woke up and I said, that is what I'm going to do. It's this woman's work. And I went in there and I said, Mommy, what do you think about this organization? I want to call it This Woman's Work. And she said, you know what? You should call it Our Woman's Work. Not a lot of people know about Kate Bush. Remember that song?
Yeah.
Right? That Maxwell did. Everybody thinks Maxwell did it, but it wasn't. It was Kate Bush. And she said, and you know what? You need to put E instead of an A. I said, what do you mean, like a women's? She said, yes, because it's all the women.
Mm.
And that was the beginning of the journey.
Of all women's work.
That's it. And I started to, my mom would pass away about a month later. And what can I say? Things just started happening. You know, opportunities started popping up. And I would meet many production companies. I went and got a publicist. And I didn't know that I was the only woman doing this, apparently. And so they would say, you know, Natasha, you're like the Oprah of construction, and you're like this and that. And so one day I was talking to a really good friend of mine. His name's Huggy. And he said to me, you know what? You're like the first lady of construction. And I
Oh,
said,
nice. And that's how you got that moniker.
Into it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, you know, what a journey, you know, like I really love that. That became a purpose. It was purpose driven for me. And not only, it's not like I forgot about my companies, but you know what, Nkechi, when you find your purpose and you find something that really fills you up and it allows you to be in service of God and in service of others, and there's nothing,
it's fire. Nothing can compare to it.
Nothing can compare to it. And so everything that I have done since then has really tied things together for me, and everything just seems to, the dots connect. And where are we today? We're
here. So it's interesting because you were probably one of the most easiest people to interview, because I think you just did the whole interview, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
You talked to us. If I really, follow all of the things that we just unlocked, is really kind of just, you don't have to have it all figured out, and I think that your vision can continue to unlock as you go, and then also not necessarily, once you have that vision, figuring out how you're going to get there, and then just kind of the how is none of your business, often they say, and this kind of, what is it that I need to do now? And I think your mom really served as a great guide, and I think that that's such a beautiful tribute that you've took us through. And so what I'm going to ask of you right now, actually, because I need to take you into rapid fires, because like I said, you just did the entire, because I was going to ask you about adversity that you faced, and I know there's more, but it's interesting because on Empowered My Skin, one of the things I'm looking to create is a leadership academy, and the what I want that academy to really be for, it's for those people that, we often talk about being the only. So you are the only in your industry, and I think there's power in being the only. I think there's also there's lessons learned of being in the only, because that means that you're in rooms where, these are the rooms that are not widely traveled, right? And so things are happening in these rooms that most people in the world do not get the chance or the privilege to be able to understand or even know, and they don't teach you this stuff in school. So, as you start to, if you can, just, think about what are one or two skills that you think, I'm going to call them your blueprint skills, that you can share with the listeners, irrespective of whatever industry they want to get into. But something about going down the path of the less traveled, right? Because essentially that's what you did. You didn't see people that looked like you. And not once in the recount did you actually say that you needed to see someone that looked like you to be able to achieve what you've achieved. You never once said that, I noticed. And oftentimes, as I meat the onlys, they don't often say that they needed that. They have become that, which is other people looking up to them. So Nash, my question for you is, what can you share as one or two blueprint musts, quality skills that have been instrumental to where you are on today?
Man, I'm going to say this one word, and
Mhm.
and hopefully everybody, all of you get what I'm saying, but pioneering.
Mm.
Man,
Being
I just get
first.
these pimples.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, because, to be a pioneer and to have that pioneering spirit,
Mhm.
it's just something special, and anybody can have it.
Mm.
Anybody can achieve it and make that a part of who they are.
Mhm.
Um, but to be a pioneer, this is my second thing. You got to be brave.
Mm.
You got to be brave.
Mhm.
Um, I think one of the things that I've been blessed with, and thank God I have, is that gumption. You
Mm.
know, I haven't been the type of person that you could say, Natasha, you can't do that. You better not tell me that, because
Mm.
I am then going to do it. And so there's the pioneering spirit. And then in order to have that, you got to be brave. And,
Mm.
I think that too many times, especially women, it could be men or women, but specifically focusing on women, is that we don't think that we can be the first to do it.
Mm.
Especially in this type of industry, we are raised to say, we're mothers, we're not supposed to be handling a big saw,
Mm.
we're nurses, we're whatever it is that people like to put us in these boxes. And what I
Mhm.
like to say is that, you have to pioneer yourself out of that box,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? Um, that's what's worked for me. That's
Mhm.
why I'm here, because
Mhm.
um, I really think that being brave, it's not easy, but
Mhm.
you have to sometimes be uncomfortable to reach
Yeah.
greatness.
Ooh. You sometimes have to be uncomfortable to reach greatness. I love
Yeah.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. So I'm going to take you through some rapid thrivers.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you think of someone who inspires you, who
Mhm.
comes first to mind?
Dead or alive?
Yeah.
Ah, my mom.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm so sure she's going to say her mom. Yeah.
I know. I always say her because, like, so much of who I am is
Mhm. So
she
help me
made
out. Is she Ethel Fox?
she is Ethel
She's
in the
Ethel.
box.
And then so you chose your mom and your daughter to name your business.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
okay,
And
okay.
Ethel
Now
Ethel actually means noble.
noble. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love how your mom has really guided you to where you are on today. And I think it's
Oh my
just
gosh,
actually
she's
so
still
meaningful.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
This is so
probably here right now being like, "Oh my God, her hair looks so good." Yeah, she
And-
was like a force. Yeah.
yeah, and the lesson that you said to her is, and I think if it's one thing that we can always put in front of ourselves is as we start to complaining, it's like just stopping and saying, well, why don't you do something about it? And
Yeah.
that's, I think, where the pioneering play comes in,
Yeah,
right?
my mom never
Yeah.
worried. That was like the
Yeah.
one thing she would always say, "You know what, Natasha, you know what your problem is?" This is what she said to me literally 4 days before she passed. She goes, "You worry too much." She goes, "I know you're going to roll your eyes, but you worry too much. You have to practice not worrying."
Mm.
So that's what I started doing. I really
Hmm.
started stopping
Yeah.
worrying.
It is, girl, it's not even a joke.
I'm
It
telling you,
is a
that brings
it is a
stress.
practice. It is a practice. But and I will tell you just how we started this interview when I shared kind
Mhm.
of that the
Yeah.
inspiration I had from what you were sharing is if I hadn't practiced, I don't know that I would have gone to the point I got to yesterday so quickly. So I think it's
Yes.
not that it doesn't happen, it's that you step out of the worry quickly. And
Yes.
right.
It's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
because you know what? 5 years ago, I could tell you I could probably worry way more and it would take longer for me to
Right.
get out of the
Right.
worrying. But
Right.
now it's like
It's quick.
2 seconds and
Yeah,
then
it's quick.
it's the
Right.
next
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Your
Yeah.
body actually feels like, yeah, wait, I'm wearing change. Yeah.
Yes, I feel it. Yeah. Mhm.
So, what is a daily activity that helps you with your thrive or staying empowered?
Prayer.
Mm.
If I get up in the morning, if you look at interviews I've done in the past, they always
Hmm.
say, like, what do you said? I wake up with a fresh cup of anxiety every morning. Like I would always say that. And now when I wake up, I have no more
Yeah.
anxiety because when I wake up, if I can't get back to sleep, rather than thinking about all of the things that I haven't done
Start
or
to
I've
pray.
done, I pray, and that really brings me center. I also am into the gym and yoga.
Yeah.
Like I need that.
Yeah.
I'm not hardcore like you, but you know what I'm saying?
You don't need to be.
I've
You
seen
need to
some of
be
your
what you
workouts,
needed
girl.
to
I'm
be.
telling
Yeah,
you,
but
right?
you need to be what you needed to be. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get myself back to those workouts too. I
I
know what people
I
are
don't
looking at. I'm
know.
like, oh my
I
God,
watched them and I'm like,
I was looking at
okay,
myself
this is,
climbing walls the
I know.
other day, and I was
You're
like,
doing some stuff. I'm like, okay. I don't
where's
know how
that
you do all
girl?
of it.
I was like, where's that girl? I need that girl back. I need that girl back.
It's
Anyway,
gonna be there.
what is a book that's helped you with your Thrive?
There's a book called Upper Limiting.
Mm.
I really love that book because I used to do that a lot, and I think all of us do that, where we're like, "Oh, you looking it up right now?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it basically talks about how when people get to a certain stage or level in their life, they will find some way to sabotage themselves, or what we like to call upper limiting.
Mm-hmm.
And so this book is a very good book because it also has exercises to stop you from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can literally block your blessings from upper limiting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Upper
like, oh my God,
upper limiting, for sure.
upper,
It's the book.
yeah. So I'm gonna have to get you the exact name. This is
Okay. It's not The Big Leap.
no.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna send you the copy of the book, and then
Okay. So to all the readers,
But it-
we'll make sure that we have the
definitely
book, and yes, we
maybe
will
you post
I'll
it
put
on
the
the
book.
little
Yes,
screen so you
I
can
always
get
put
it.
the book. Yeah.
Right.
What is okay, go on. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so I really love that book, and I love Atomic Habits too.
Oh yes, that one I
That's
love
a
it.
very good
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
What is an app that helps you stay empowered?
An app.
Mm-hmm. An app on
I
your
like
phone.
yoga face massage.
Yoga face massage. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because I'm getting to that age, and it's like sometimes I feel like my
Yoga
face
face massage is an actual app.
So it's an app. So it's called. I'm going to tell you what it is right now. I don't. You know what? I never remember anything. I just download it. It's called Face Yoga.
Face yoga. Okay, I'm gonna
Face
have to
yoga.
check this out. Face yoga. Okay.
So I do that. I do this, and I
Yeah,
think, and it really just makes me feel like I'm doing something.
You're doing
and that
something.
my face
Okay.
isn't
Okay.
drooping down.
I love this.
So
I love this.
that definitely. I know I have weird things that empower me. It's so crazy, but like, yeah, that's it. Because I'm not really a phone, and like I don't like tablets and being, on my phone all the time.
Tethered to digital.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so my last one is, as people miss First Lady of Construction, and all of the awards you've won, and just your exuberant self that we see, and personality that you share with the world. What is one misconception that people have of you, or that you think that they have of you?
I think they think that I'm an extrovert. Okay. I'm not an extrovert. I'm not. I have the ability to walk into certain environments and form myself to whatever is going on. I can be the life of the party, but sometimes most of the time, I would much rather be sitting and watching Netflix and relaxing.
So can I submit something to you?
Yes.
For consideration?
Yes.
I often try to discourage myself and others to put these labels, like introvert, extrovert, or the latest one that I'm trying to really just debunk is the imposter syndrome and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh, I've been hearing so much about that.
You're not going to hear about it soon, because I am literally debunking that from the world. But anyway, it's out. So the truth is, maybe it's more about knowing who you are in certain circumstances, right? So in circumstances where you are out in the public and you need to be out in the eye, there is a side of you that comes alive because you're able to really carry that room and the purpose of why you're there.
Personality,
Yeah, and then when you are alone, you also value the quiet and the calmness and the stillness and the solitude. Yeah, so
I do.
Right.
Okay, but just and I get that is exactly correct. But I'm talking about how I feel
You
like
think,
people see
yeah,
me.
you think people think
That
you're
just, oh
like
my
that
God, you
all
wanted
the,
to
you're
stay
all
home,
the,
and I'm
you're
just
that
like,
all the
yeah,
time,
I
right?
need to stay home. Like
Yeah.
I just went to like 5 galas. I just spoke at this place,
I'm
and now I'm
exhausted.
there. You know what I mean? And chopping wood and building a house. Like I mean,
I'm exhausted.
I'm
Tired.
exhausted. And I have a 7-year-old who's like, I got to take the dance class and do, like, look at this. We pretty much have the same type of schedule, I would think. So, and this is why, for all of you who don't know, it took us a little while to get to this point because
Yes.
we are women of many hats. We wear
Mhm.
many hats, and
Yeah.
we enjoy that. We
Yes.
enjoy
Yeah.
that.
I enjoy you.
I enjoy
So,
you too.
where do we find more of you online?
You can go to Instagram, First Lady of Construction. You can check out some things that I'm doing now. We just finished a massive event called Her Construct Innovation Gala. It was amazing. We're going to be doing that next year. We are going to be hosting a few women-related events in the coming spring and summer. I'm super excited about that. And my classes are starting again. So for those of you who are interested in learning construction, I have to say it's been amazing. We have 900 women enrolled right now in the program. And, we need all the support we can get. So volunteer. If you want to know more about the industry, come and take one of our classes. It's free.
I
Okay.
love that. I love
And
that.
we want to empower women. We want to empower people, the newcomers that are new to our country.
Mhm.
We know all of the things that are going on right now in our country, in our province. And I'm here to, help push things along and make Canada great and
Again.
build Canada again.
Not great again, but just
Definitely need that, girl.
continue to make
It's about
Canada
to get
great.
saucy up in
Just
here. It's
continue to
about to
make
get
Canada
real
great.
saucy the next
I
5
know.
years.
Ain't
So
nobody
we
coming to
have to
make us
stick
the
together.
51st state. That's right. Yeah. Ain't coming. You
That
ain't
is a
coming.
no to that.
That's
We are
like a
saying
hell.
no. That's
That
a
is a
big
hard no.
hell no. All right. So you know what? We all have to work together, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what
That
I'm
is,
here to
yeah.
do.
Common unity.
And if anybody needs any renovations or stuff like that, check out my site, EthelFoxConstruct.com.
Mhm.
And you can go and find out more about a woman's work, AWW, at awworg.com.
So I'm putting my hand up, so I'm going to check it out. Basement construct. So we'll talk, and maybe if you still do
Okay.
landscaping, we could talk about backyard. Okay.
Ooh,
So
okay.
as a parting question,
Yes.
this podcast is called "Empowered in My Skin," and would love to know what that means to you.
Oh, wow. You know, probably everybody said something cliche to this, but empower in my
No, I've had
skin.
some great answers.
No? Okay, well, let me just, okay.
Yeah, go
So
in.
what that means to me is, living in your truth
Mm,
and being truthful with yourself. And I feel like when you are living in your truth and you're honest with yourself, you'll feel more empowered in your skin.
mhm.
And it's easier to live in your skin,
Yeah,
you
isn't
know?
it? Than somebody
Oh my
else's.
gosh. Yeah. So many of us are out of our skin, you know what I'm saying? We need to get
Yes, I hear
back
it.
in
Yeah,
there,
back into their skin.
viscerally. So
Girlfriend, I gave you your flowers. I raise another bouquet to you. You are incredible and you're awesome. And I keep rising, queen. Keep rising.
thank you
Okay.
so much, and keep doing what you're doing. Keep empowering. You've empowered me and influenced me. So thank you for that.
I
I
love
look
it. I love
forward
it.
to more.
I
More,
love
please.
it.
More, please.
Yes, more coming. Okay.
Okay.
And to everyone that's listening, sadly, this is where I have to say, we're out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you have it. I trust that you're feeling more empowered in your skin. And as the late Dr. Maya Angelou says, when you get, you give, when you learn, you teach. So it would mean so much for us at EIMS if you share this episode and tag us or teach an insight that you learned from today's episode on your socials and tag us. And remember to go over onto iTunes and leave us a review or follow us on socials at Empowered in My Skin. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.